time it is!
Welcome to the C-Squared Hour. We are the Chris's. The reason you're not allowed to wear sweatpants in the strip club anymore. Chris, how was the tailgate party at the Capitol?
It was excellent.
Fair enough. Well, I wanted to bring something. I wanted to ask your opinion. I already know the answer, but just play along with me here.
Gotcha.
What is your opinion on going ugly early? Actually, you know what? Before we get to this, just want to shout out drinking Ecliptic Brewing out of Portland, Oregon. So, and recommended to me, and it was a very good recommendation. So, thank you for that.
Absolutely.
So, going ugly early.
Well, if you're familiar with blackjack, it's basically taking the insurance bet. You know,
Not true, because the insurance bet's a sucker's bet in blackjack.
In my world, going ugly early is a sucker's bet. You know what I'm saying?
So you do condone going ugly early?
Officially, C-Squared always condones going ugly early.
Perfect. That's what I needed to know.
On the record, I say, C-Squared always condones going ugly early.
And fucking OnlyFans ruining that for everybody, so.
Hey, you know we're going to split hairs on this one.
Yeah, well, are you a big OnlyFans guy? Are you subscribed and all that?
You know, I actually haven't subscribed to an OnlyFans before, but I like the idea that the talent is making the money in, what do we call this, the third-person sex trade? The virtual sex trade?
Second person? You know, they talk about first and third person. You
I
never
feel
hear
like
about
second person is the camera.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, you know, like stories and shit, you know, second person, you know, really gets fucked.
Right? Who the fuck ever knows what second is? First person, third person.
Right.
I guess second person is watching directly, and third person is telling the story.
Yeah, I don't fucking know.
So when I jerk off, am I telling that story?
Are you the second person?
Did the cable get fixed?
Oh, fuck. So how clean is the pool? So you see, I have a bit of problem with the OnlyFans.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, since anyone can do it, it's given the wrong kind of broads too much confidence. And that's really fucking up my wheelhouse. You know what I mean?
That's your bread and butter.
Right, right. But all of a sudden, anyone can put it on there. And then some Tuesday night 5 is out at the bar, you know, thinking she's all hot because 5 people subscribe. And it's like, no, hun, you're still a 5. You just found the right Kenyans. Like, with a stolen fucking credit card. It's just... So
you're saying you don't want to be the 6th, right?
I'm saying I'm not going to be the... First of all, to be, you know, you're right. It does, take the producer. But there's too much free porn for you to be an ugly chick on OnlyFans. Let's be honest.
Maybe,
Gotta
but...
fix my mic real quick.
God damn it!
So, yeah.
I'm just saying... the fuck were we talking about? What the fuck was I going to say? Oh, yeah, you're right. All that free porn out there, I still don't think ugly chicks are represented as I would like them to be.
I'm saying with how much free porn,
paid porn, doesn't matter. Not enough ugly chicks.
Well, but with how much free porn's out there, you're gonna have to do some weird shit if you're an ugly chick. And I'm just saying, sign it up and give me an areola slip on an OnlyFans just doesn't do it for me.
The girl from Trailer Park Boys the
Trinity. Yeah.
From Trailer Park Boys is now on OnlyFans.
But I
haven't checked it out.
I think she's just doing like underwear shit. And I don't think it's anything nude. Because there's like every fucking 2-bit reality star's on OnlyFans now, and like they're all like some of the best only do like areola shots, which is just
lame.
It's just a shame. But I don't know. Maybe maybe Canadian celebrities have a different.
No. We'll find a compromise here. OnlyFans keeps going, but you have to go full nude.
Done. See, there we go. Now I'm cool.
Done.
Right.
Now we're getting shit
at least topless and see-through bottom.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Right. Kind of the.
Maybe not see-through, just topless.
I gotta see where the lip starts.
I like a granny panty shot from time to time. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's where you hit up X Hamster, my man. All right. So did you
X Hamster?
It's just one of the porn sites. It's one of the more user uploaded ones than others.
I know what I'm doing the next 2 days.
Yeah. Since Pornhub took away a lot of the unverified videos, it's one of the best to find the celebrity sex tapes now.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a celebrity sex tape,
I don't think I've ever jerked off to a celebrity sex tape, but I enjoy watching them.
Yeah, I'm not a third person porn guy or a first person porn guy. I'm not a POV guy, so that's the tough part because
a lot of POV.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the only one I can think of is Tanya Harding, who isn't, and that's way the fuck. They're fucking 30 feet from the bed. So
I did see the Tanya Harding sex tape. Yeah.
So you know what I mean? They're 30 feet away.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Not very clear.
No. Anyway, speaking of computers, you wanted to talk about Bill Gates. Did you bring your Gatesism?
I don't. I don't fucking Bill Gates.
Are you worried because the whole internet thing? We're not. Are you worried we're not big enough to fuck with Bill Gates yet? On our, got to get at least 10,000.
I feel like we won't get big enough if we fuck with Bill Gates.
That's a good point. Well,
I feel like his push to vaccinate the world at his profit and others' expense it's not ethical and it's not on the up and up. That's. I want to start by saying I'm not anti-vax by any means. Vaccines, as a whole, they help us keep a lot of viruses under control.
Therefore, and since smartphones, they don't have the microchips in them anymore.
Right. The whole microchip. Yeah, can we just say that? If you're worried about being microchipped, can you
go get a flip phone
out your window? Because you are certainly low-jacked.
Checking it every place you go. But fuck the government.
Right.
But look at me here.
But yeah, that's the reality is that vaccines are not entirely safe. And the proper research that needs to be done to tell us who might be at risk from taking a vaccine or what particularly would cause that risk, that research doesn't get done. So, and it's pretty obvious it's for monetary reasons.
Yeah.
You notice within the scientific and medical community, anybody that speaks negatively towards vaccines gets silenced pretty quick. That has to make you question exactly why. Right? And I know if you get deep into the rabbit hole online, or if you look at the QAnon people, you're going to get a lot of fucking wacky shit. And that's the anti-vaxxers. They're really, most of them they're nuts. Mm-hmm. But there is some truth in there that we're not totally being told.
Well, everything has to have a fucking side effect. I mean, fucking multivitamins have a fucking side effect. So how does
yeah, it's green piss. Not that bad.
Well, but still,
neon. It's kind of a neon color, really.
Well, that's B12, isn't it? That usually gives you that.
Probably.
Okay. But no, there's definitely. But they're forced to put out, that there are side effects of it, but you don't hear the side effects of a fucking, every fucking antibiotic you take has the side effects listed when you pick it up. Anyway, what I wanted, we could talk about Bill Gates later, but I promised all the squareheads out there that I was going to watch more of the show While the Last of Us Die on the Vice network.
Yeah.
Have you checked that out or anything like that?
A little bit. Do you want me to go into this a little?
Yeah, but you can.
Vice has gone so far downhill.
No shit.
Early on, obviously the first Vice HBO show, but even some of the early Vice articles, super fascinating. They were always giving you something that grabbed your attention. It was things you weren't seeing on other media. It was kind of the forgotten stories. They were really, really going after covering the real shit, covering the downtrodden, showing the corruption. And it's gotten so clickbaity. It's
so
generation,
it's
Gen
for
Z
hipsters.
cesspool is what it is. It's really just fucking devolved into a shit show.
The network is okay if you weed through all that shit. There was a show, Hate Thy Neighbor. I don't know if you watched that, where some British comedian goes through and follows a bunch of hate groups around the world. You checks those out. And then Dark Side of the Ring, where they told all the crazy wrestling stories from back in the day before it was like under one umbrella. Show about that. But
pro wrestling's awesome. So
right, and fucking greasy shit happened in the 70s and 80s. But so you look at While the Rest of Us Die, and you think, this is going to be what politicians and the rich and everything are going to be doing when the bomb drops, right?
Here's where the elite goes.
Right. Well, first episode talked about, I forget which one it was, like some mountain in South Dakota for probably about 3 minutes, and the rest of it was Trump's too crazy to have the button. Mm-hmm. Second one talked about the Greenbrier, which for 30 years was rumored to be, and then they finally had to admit that it is, and they showed like all the automatic weapons and all that shit. But that was about 4 minutes of that episode. Episode 3 I just watched, it was Police Hate Dark People.
Yeah.
That was it. Nothing about nothing about what was going to happen, but there's
police hate white people too. Like cops are just dicks.
They hate lowlifes.
Right.
They hate poor people.
Yeah.
We've talked about this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, there is. Society has some problems with where race is and where it isn't. You say what you will.
Let me say our issues with police in this country are not with the police force, but it lies with the courts. This is in our judges.
And then it trickles down to the police,
all the district attorneys, and it's in every county level, in every city across the nation. This isn't police, but let me tell you, you can go to any prison and say, tell me about your case. And they are first going to mention the DA.
Right.
and then they're going to say the judge that gave him the sentence.
Right.
They're not going to say the arresting officer. And there's some times where they might say, that motherfuckers planted some shit on me.
Right.
Shit happens. There are crooked cops, but I'm telling you, the problem is in the courts. It's not with the police.
And that trickles downhill. The courts are hearing from the government who says we need to lower crime, so show more arrests or whatever. And so then the judges are, getting down on the police captain or whatever.
I'm going to say, as long as we are talking about police brutality, corrupt police, racial tensions in police, we're not getting to the real issue and nothing's going to change.
Right.
And at this, I want to ask about our vice president and why so many people our age and younger are okay that we elected the queen of cops.
Right. The locked up more drug offenders than anyone in the history of California or some shit like that.
It really, I'll tell you what gets me is when she's asked about marijuana laws and she says, are you kidding? I'm Jamaican.
Yeah,
which
but
not only to say a lot of Jamaican people don't smoke weed, a lot do.
Right.
But more importantly, look, I'd have been okay if you just said, listen, my job as a prosecutor was to enforce the laws of
right,
California.
those were the laws.
Which I did. But personally, I think marijuana is acceptable, should be legal, and I would push to legalize it now that I have that power.
Right.
But instead, she made a whole fucking joke about all the guys she threw in prison.
Right.
and her culture and her history.
If I remember to grab the soundboard, I could have throw the Joe Biden clip I had in there.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't love the soundboard. That's on me.
Well, no, it just the sound was off on it. Yeah, I get that.
We really need a fucking third guy in here to run that board.
No shit. Yeah. I was able to cut out enough of the dead space while I was trying to fuck around with it. The problem is,
like, hold on.
Yep.
Boing.
I was able to cut most of that out. So the problem is, it's hard enough to get either of us out of bed to do something for free. We'd have to pull a third guy out here to do something for free. But
I just bought a new bed too.
Oh yeah, congratulations. Where the fuck were we? Oh yeah, so while the rest of us die. So, and you talked about it, how they've gone so blatantly left leaning.
Vice News, we're talking.
Yeah.
absolutely.
So one of the, I think this was the third episode. They talked about how Trump fucked up Hurricane Maria, which quite possibly, say what you will. Bush fucked up Katrina, which, say what you will. They don't mention that the reason Katrina got fucked up was the 30 years of presidents pushing back, fixing the levees and not sending money to that. There was blue presidents that were pushing that money away too.
Well, on a community level in New Orleans, they knew this was coming. Let me tell you, I was down there when I was, this would have been about 96.
Okay.
And the highest point in elevation in New Orleans is at the zoo. There's a tiny little mound you can climb. It looks like it's about an 8-foot climb, and you are sitting.
Now,
at the
if I were a
highest
racist,
point.
I would say, because of the type of people who live in New Orleans, that whole city's a zoo. Anyway, continue.
I didn't say that. I just want that known. But they said there is a very good chance that this is all going to be underwater soon. Everybody in New Orleans knew this was coming, and nobody did anything about it. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't think that there's race involved in that. I feel like it's not the federal government's responsibility to make sure every single community is protected. I think if said community goes to the federal government and says, hey, we have an issue, we would like help, it's a little different. But there wasn't a lot of that going on with either the state of Louisiana or the city of New Orleans.
But the whole levee system was started, and
I hear you a lot better now.
Can you?
Yeah.
Okay, so this must be working. God, I'm so smart.
Down a little.
Yeah.
A little loud.
Yeah.
A little loud.
All right. How's that look?
Yeah, it's good. Can you hear me?
I think I can.
I don't really think your mic is as important.
Well, because you're the money man here. I'm just the dumb host. Like,
I feel like I'm the Axl Rose to the Slash of this podcast.
I would say you're more the you're the Slash to my Izzy. You don't realize how important it is.
I was just going to use Axl because he doesn't show up all the time. that was the only reason I went with that.
That's fair.
I'm not trying to. In fact, I wouldn't want to be a lead singer. We go back and forth on this. As far as the Stones, I'm a Keith Richards man all day, and I know you're going to go with Jagger.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, to an extent, yeah.
Oh,
but
don't change your tune now.
I'm not changing it. I'm just, what that's the ticket right there. Whoo, fixing on the fly. See, that's how this is done. That's what kind of professional thing we have in here.
It amazes me that we're not doing this for money.
Yeah, well, we will. It's a matter of time. I mean, I've turned down numerous sponsorship.
Well, you got to get the right one.
Right. That's the whole.
Honestly, sponsorship, it always leads to censorship.
Exactly. I want to make sure, we still own our stuff. So if anyone's listening out there, there are many offers, and we only have room for a few. So Let's see those wallets, companies. Shit. So, yeah, while the rest of us die, we were talking about... Oh, yeah, the Army Corps of Engineers set that whole thing up. They started setting that up.
Yeah.
So they weren't reaching out to the federal government to do it. The federal government said, hey, we're going to come in here and do this. And they pushed it off for 40 fucking years.
Yeah.
Now, what I would like to mention to the Vice Network is there were a lot of Democratic presidents in those years that didn't help finish building it.
Right.
But that wasn't mentioned at all.
Well, and honest, do you not get a little tired of the bias that when a Republican's in office, I enjoy how much criticism the White House gets by most mainstream media. But it annoys the shit out of me. I read an article the other day that discussed Joe Biden's dogs and that him and his wife like to sit by the fireplace in the afternoons. And I'm not even kidding you. It was disgusting. This love affair piece with Joe Biden. And had we known, I'd had it ready to read it to you. But the simple fact that, like, are you fucking kidding me? This isn't news and this isn't relevant. And why on earth do you have to go so out of your way to tell me how great this fucking man is? Like, look, I want the guy to succeed.
And
I do.
In that same vein, one of the first articles that came out about, Trump's personal life in the White House was how he spent $20,000 to upgrade the golf simulator that Obama had put in. But that was a big thing. Oh yeah, look at him spending our money to...
And that his wife wouldn't move in and all that shit.
Right, she wanted to live in New York and the apartment, yeah.
Which is fine. Smash the president, I'm good with it. Like, but fucking let's do it equally.
Right.
They're all assholes.
Right. Well, I mean, just read off of Camilla's debate notes. She gave you plenty of ammo for the guy. Yeah, and that brings me to episode 4 of that show.
Camilla? Is that what you call it? Camilla?
Episode 4 of that show. They basically say there's too much war, which, they talk about the green zone, which is, where they basically set up something in Baghdad where there's this area where, everyone was partying and having fun over there. But across the river, people are, shooting, whatever. Anyway.
Well, there is too much war, but.
Well,
look,
they only mentioned because of 2001.
It's hard to criticize war when you fucking haven't done it.
It's also harder to...
Like, objectively, I can see how we should discuss war as a whole and say why we shouldn't be so involved in conflicts, but to go in and say, oh, the way they had a green zone where the soldiers were having a good time, and
right, that's where all the politicians went to show that we were doing a good job.
Listen, once we've committed to the act, the least we can do is make sure that the boys we send over there have.
Well, that was the point. It was saying small percentage of the boys were having a good time, and it was only the ones that were stationed where all the politicians hung out. Which, fair argument. All right, yeah. I will give that. Again, if they only mentioned the shit that happened after 2001.
Yeah.
Again, this is while the rest of us died. This is a show that the title would lead you to believe that it's going to talk about all the greasy underground shit that's happening for the elite, for the politicians, while when the bomb drops, how we're going to be left alone and where they're going to be, right? No, just too much war in the Middle East. Another thing about that episode, and this kind of goes to what you're saying, they talked a lot about the Cuban Missile Crisis, how that was the closest we've ever come to nuclear war, probably.
Which, yeah. Definitely.
Because we had shit set up, within, a couple miles of Russia.
Gee, that was crazy. Who was in charge of all that?
Well, according to that show, I wouldn't know.
Right.
That's the thing. The Great White Hope Kennedy, or the Great Blue Hope Kennedy, apparently had nothing to do with the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah.
And just fucking. They talk about. Did you know that?
And here's what sucks is. To leave Kennedy was fascinating. So to leave him out, like after the Bay of Pigs,
which he had nothing to do with. If you just base your history off this show,
right, it was he was very jaded with the CIA, with most. I mean, Kennedy. It's interesting because I don't think I've looking at anything I've read or any documentaries I've watched, there's no figure quite like Kennedy who has, before his assassination even, he was looking saying, I'm really not sure who I can trust within the government.
Right.
You know, he said the CIA and the FBI both.
And it turned out Bush Sr. was, his worst enemy. We can get into that later. But.
Yeah, that's a whole.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so much there, and to leave him out.
Yeah, and I just like how
you're not delving into some very important history and
we talked about this like 24 minutes ago. Half of what Kennedy gets credit for was pushed across by Johnson.
Yeah,
and he's treated like the guy who just he fucked up Vietnam. That's all you think of Johnson.
Johnson was an asshole though. He really was. Personal life, guy was an ass.
Right,
but he did push a lot of equality. Mm-hmm. So
yeah. And then let's see. I only got through episode 5 of this show, and this is probably the last I'll ever talk about it because obviously this show it's going to be beating a dead horse. However, I've always said beating a dead horse is good practice for when you come across a live one. So, episode 5 they talk about Mount Pony, which is a Federal Reserve base buried.
Funny because you were just talking about beating a dead horse.
God, I really wish I had the rim shot right now.
Sorry.
But they talked about that where there's billions and billions of $2 bills in these vaults that are supposed to, if shit gets blown up and shit gets destroyed, that we're still going to have cash to make shit go. So they already have a plan, and they have a plan. Because of that, they're still going to be able to get their taxes.
Which is interesting. And
it really is.
I'm glad they included it. It's something I would want to hear.
Me too. So that was 2 minutes of the episode.
Oh.
The rest was how wealth inequality is still a major problem, if not worse than before the housing crisis. And they talked about the housing crisis because we haven't heard that 80 fucking million times.
I'd like to make a point on the housing crisis since you brought it up.
Of course.
Because if they were going to talk about the housing crisis, what I would mention is that... So this all went down right at the beginning of Obama's term. He put together Dodd-Frank, and they passed that bill. He didn't put it together. Senators did. But...
Have you heard Barney Frank talk? Okay, one of the guys who does it?
Yeah.
He fucking annoys the shit out of me.
He's a big fat guy talking like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he the homo or is that the other one? Again, not that there's anything wrong with it. Anyway, I digress. We'll have to look it up. It's not Barney Frank, I'm sure, but it's one of his. Is it?
I think it is Barney Frank's gay.
Well, whoever it is, it's an old guy who talks like he is.
We don't care. But as I think it might be, it doesn't matter.
Both of us has come too close to judge anybody.
This guy, you don't see it, but he looks like he's seen one up close. Dodd-Frank legislation,
it was a great tuck job.
As great as it was, the problem being that everything that happened during the housing, the mortgage crunch, the subprime, was all already illegal. Mm-hmm. And the laws just weren't enforced.
As I do, bringing it back to baseball, it's like all the rules to speed up the game. I say, just enforce the rules that are already there.
Right.
There you go, folks. See, half of our listeners are sports people, half of them are political people. Yeah. So that's me including everybody.
So my point being, if you didn't think they enforced the laws that were already there, why do you think they're going to enforce
right.
the first one? Because if you look now, there's still subprime lending going on.
Right.
All the same shit that led to the first. So new laws aren't the answer. Well, really, we just need to get lobbyists the fuck out of our government. Or
we need to become lobbyists and just be part of the problem. I figured that's
not a bad solution for you and I.
just fuck it. It's all going downhill. Let's make sure we're on the right
We'd be good at that.
Yeah. Just make sure.
I know people. You know people. We get along with people.
Yeah.
People like hanging out with us.
Right.
And we're good.
We're pandering douchebags too. We get along with anybody. But
if there is money or sex at the end of this equation, I'm in.
Hey, yeah. Oh, fucking hey. We that's kind of where I'm going. With the younger us would be like, yeah, fight the system, and now we're just saying, fuck it, let's be a part of it. Let's fucking. The funny thing is after watching all those episodes of While the Rest of Us Die, I threw on the Scientology network, and they were talking about the 10 steps to happiness.
Yeah.
And the one they happened to be talking about at the time, for the 7 minutes that I was watching it, was if you're unhappy with the system, don't protest it, just withdraw from it. Just not do anything anymore. Don't pay your taxes. Don't protest. Don't go to these things. That has more influence than protesting, and protesting makes you look more like a douche. So, I'm kind of on board with Scientology. 7 minutes of the Scientology network, at least.
I'm more fascinated that
I downloaded the Scientology network.
Yeah. Didn't Scientology just kind of get debunked? Are they still? It's still going. It's still happening.
Yeah.
It's like the word's out.
Dude, Dougie Fresh is a Scientologist. He helped build and open the Scientology Center in Harlem. You know how I know that? Scientology network. Yeah, no, it's one of those. Again, Christianity's been debunked. Judaism's been debunked.
Yeah,
all that's been debunked.
Right. And at one point, Christianity was the crazy fucking cult too.
Right.
And with time, so what? 3,000 years from now, are we all going to be fucking worshiping L. Ron Hubbard?
No, because there's not enough. The only mainstream Scientologists are, the celebrities, the actors, the people who are already supposed to be weird.
Now, wait a minute.
Except Dougie Fresh, of course.
I'm going to take you back to like 300 AD.
Okay.
And, we're going to talk about, there was probably people sitting around saying, oh yeah, that Christianity thing, that's just a handful of nut jobs. Right?
Well, shit, we probably can go back to 1900 where handful of people are saying Mormons
the Roman Empire is close to falling. Things aren't looking good. Conquest throughout, Gaul and Britannia and all these places, they're just not looking good. And Constantine says, wild card, I'm going to double down. Mm-hmm. You could very much relate modern day America to Rome at the time. Was very much a superpower, but had a lot of flaws. There was a lot of cracks. And they doubled down on something wild.
And wait. And America has a lot of crack.
I gotta be with this guy.
I should have had the crickets.
I gotta be with this guy. I'm just saying, we act like we're impervious to failure, but shit could devolve at any time. And who knows that what doesn't rise out of the ashes
right.
isn't Scientology.
Well, you can even say,
I mean, we really
Mormonism, within the last 200 years.
Hey, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
But it's accepted now. And you could say, my guess would be 2 years after, 10 years after it started, people say, look at these batshit people. And so they just moved to their own place.
Mormons were tarred and feathered.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Full disclosure, I was raised amongst those fucking nut jobs. Hey, for the record, I will say the community behind Mormonism is fantastic. And
that's one thing. They
take care of their own. Mm-hmm. And let's face it, a lifestyle that doesn't involve drugs, alcohol, tobacco, any other fun. You'll live long on it.
Right.
A long time to be annoyed by all your wives.
That's one thing. That's one thing that annoys me. It's like the whole polygamy thing. Like, who gives a flying fuck?
Well, and honestly,
the problems with the polygamy thing with like the Warren Jeffs and shit, it was marrying off 12-year-olds to adults. You know, that's the problem. But if like
the Mormon Church renounced polygamy in like 1890 or something.
But but their main forefathers were very much practicing of it.
Can I tell you something?
They had to.
All of mankind's history comes from polygamy.
I'm not arguing. I'm saying the fact
all of us, we came from some kind of people that when they had the power, they said, "Fuck it, I'm marrying all the chicks." Like that's what we do.
I'm not.
Let's say
blaming them.
Ground Zero virus breaks out, and we all turn into zombies. And those of us that survive, like Walking Dead scenario, right? Mm-hmm. That happens. All the guys that make it, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna take all the chicks because that's what fucking dudes do.
Right.
I'm not saying
just
it's
what guys do.
That's what happens. These dudes, they take all the power in the community, and next thing you know, they're fucking all the chicks. Like, why not? And they're like, hey, I should be fucking the younger chicks. Like, it ain't great, but it's what these assholes do. I don't know.
Where did we start on? Oh, Scientology Network. That's where we started on this.
See what Scientology gets you?
Yeah. No,
next thing you know, we're talking about fucking all the chicks.
I'm saying I agree with 7 minutes of Scientology. Where it's basically my
you just keep prefacing this with 7 minutes because that's you've watched so much more than 7 minutes.
I've watched it. Shit. I agree with 7 minutes of what I've watched. That's what I'm saying. Well, and no, they did a full episode about how modern medicine is just pumping people full of drugs and. Maybe the quest to happiness isn't through a pill, and maybe you should try this. That wasn't bad either.
No, I imagine so. I'd probably agree with a lot of that shit.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, beyond that, just the 7 minutes I agreed with. You're just jealous that I found the Scientology Network for you.
No, so let me. Isn't that it with Scientology though? Because Scientology is your dealer on the corner, and this is what it is. If I'm the guy selling you heroin, I'm saying, no, you don't need a psychiatrist. You don't need to go to a doctor. You don't need to get better. What you need is to keep coming to me and getting my shit because it makes you feel better. Right? That's what Scientology is. And 100%, it's going to people and saying, what you need to get healthy is just to keep coming back here.
And again, that's all religion. That's really all it is. It's like, you need a path for your life. Here
maybe, but outside of Scientology and Christian Scientists, nobody else is trying to get you off your Prozac.
But that's because, the Jews control the medical system and the new medical system and the news. So, they already got their part. I'm just, and Muslims are all about that, non-drug intervention and shit like that. So really.
Are you trying to call me a fucking Muslim?
No, I'm trying to call you a Jew. No. You hook-nosed bastard. Yeah, I'm not anti-Semite. I just
thank you. We can talk shit about Muslims. Just talk shit about Jews.
Yeah, you always get mad at me about the Jewish jokes.
I don't know.
They're jokes, Israel. People. They are jokes.
I'm good with Zionism.
Well, this is a weird transition to it, but for the business we're trying to be into.
Real quick, can I just ask, why on earth, when did it become okay, all of this acceptance of Islam? It's fucking oppressive. It's ass backwards. It's thousands of years in the Stone Age. Even the most progressive liberal people I know are trying to tell me how great these Muslims are. I shouldn't say these Muslims. Like, I know there's some okay Muslims, but by and large, that shit is not conducive to.
Well, take your most extreme Christians and your most extreme Muslims and your most extreme Jews. How far in the Stone Age is Islam based on the rest of them?
Yeah,
I mean, even if you're an Orthodox Jewish community, yeah, maybe you're a woman, you don't have a point, you got to keep your mouth shut, more.
Yeah.
Than irregular. But, you can your clit's not going to get cut off.
You can still drive.
Right. The most, subservient to
I
men.
know
That's
historically
fine.
Christians and Jews, they have a lot of blood on their hands and a lot of guilt, but talking about the fucking real world that we live in today.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, again, it's that whole thing, the problem is the excess.
Yeah.
Everyday middle of the road Jew, or I'm sorry, everyday middle of the road Muslim person isn't a problem. They're fine.
Yeah.
You run into a bunch of them. They're okay people. We know a few of them.
Kinda. Well, I still contend that it's a very oppressive religion.
I don't disagree.
People that follow it, I guess I say the same thing about Christians, but I get a different level of oppression from the Muslims.
And that's true. It's one of the most restrictive are way above the most restrictive, Christians and Jewish people.
But even
the least restrictive are way above the least restrictive. Right. Yeah. Right. So it's just that sliding scale, and they're on the kind of.
Are we not? Isn't the ultimate goal to find a society where we're not dictated our terms by,
Well, isn't really
these old structures of power?
Isn't religion just to be able to explain the unexplainable?
I feel like I am not making my point.
No, I get where you're coming from.
I'm getting close, but I'm just not there.
That's what your old lady says every night.
I wish she said that every night.
Getting close. Maybe she would have left years ago. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. It's why are the most and the people who are wanting us to accept not necessarily Islam, but all religions, which is included in that, the ones who are saying like, hey, look, maybe they're not so bad. They are arguing for a system that they are adamantly against. It is the exact opposite of their...
And more importantly, if you try to bring any kind of a traditional Christian value up, they're gonna trash it down.
Right.
Which I would. You would.
Yeah.
We don't really appreciate most of the Christian values. I shouldn't say appreciate. I mean, some Christians live on a good, healthy, love, respect.
We're also in a different area. We don't see a whole lot of the.
That's true.
The
real
burn the faggots at the stake kind of
dragging behind trucks or however they solve that problem.
right. But if you look at the Muslim religion or the Islamic religion, just even at its base is more
fanatic.
It's more anti Gen X, but Gen X wants us to accept them more. Yeah, people are fucking. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, that is it. Thanks for summing that up.
That's what I'm here for. I'm the finisher. So we gotta mention this for the business we are quote unquote in or trying to be into.
Yeah.
Rush Limbaugh passed away since our last episode. Now, a lot of people who listen are going to be rolling their eyes or saying good. Yeah. Say what you will about the guy.
Are our listeners anti-Rush?
I don't fucking know. I'm saying the only people who are going to get annoyed by this are rolling their eyes and shit. The other half the listeners are going to say, "Oh yeah, that sucks that he passed away." So I'm just, I'm just
curious to know what people think about Rush out there.
That's a good point. Let us know.
Our fucking people. Yeah, we want to know.
Right, yeah. Hit us up. Again, the email, the Twitter, the Instagram. There's a Facebook now. If you don't know it by now, it's your fucking fault. But, so, say what you will about the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And, I didn't agree with him a lot. And, whatever. All right? the most recent thing you heard about was how bullshit him getting the Medal of Valor or Medal of Honor or whatever the fuck he got, at the State of the Union. But look at the people who've gotten
Medal
that.
of Freedom, wasn't it?
I don't know. It's one of those things that they give out for photo op. But they
No, I'm with you. Here's
look at who's gotten it in the past.
Yeah.
There is no one more influential in radio, maybe media.
Yeah, I mean, I would go with
Rush
media.
Limbaugh.
I would go with media. Media as we know it, as far as an entertainment outlet. As far as not so much news, but the commentary on news.
Right.
Which today it's huge, and
Fuck,
CNN,
today that's all it is.
CNN
Today
and
there's
Fox
no more news, it's all commentary.
have all followed suit, but before all of that, Rush was the only one that was doing it.
Right. And he even looked at, before, like, the Alex Jones and all that, he was saying, some of the affiliates don't like me. Well, I'll start my own fucking business.
Yeah.
And if you want me, you're going to have to come to me and, made a bunch of money off that. So yeah, even, the way we're trying to do it, he did it on his own. But he's, again, most influential in media of all time.
When we like Howard Stern, for example,
I would put it.
Would we have Howard Stern?
I would say yes, not to the same extent.
All of the radio that we have. Yeah, Stern might have gotten his own way. And you're right. He's probably about as influential or close to it as influential as Rush.
He wouldn't have had to go as nuts as he did.
Yeah.
He may still have.
That's a good point.
But he didn't have to. He only had to because of Rush Limbaugh.
But, I mean, we like what was Opie and Anthony, and now it's Jim and Sam.
Which is still pretty
down
good.
the road if you listen to satellite radio. But point being, all of these guys, would they have a job without Rush Limbaugh paving
Absolutely
the way?
not.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
It's hard to, and again, we're young, but when it comes to the radio business,
Sure.
but it's hard to find anything before that was, strictly, commentary. It was either news or it was those, dumb War of the Worlds radio shows. And
Rush Limbaugh was a podcast before there was podcasts. That's entirely what.
Right. When companies started saying, oh, we don't like it, you're going to have to stop saying that. You're going to have to start saying that or we're going to fire you. He said, fuck it. I quit. Starts EIB.
Yeah. And,
starts his own business and it makes all these affiliates say, well, fuck, everyone's asking for it. Yeah,
and then we got the greats like Tom Likas. This is what Rush gave us.
First of all,
without Rush Limbaugh, would we get Tom Likas?
The last 10 years, let's just say Likas pre 2007.
Yeah, all right. Fair enough.
But we, again,
I haven't really checked in on him in a while.
I do now. He's doing a paid podcast type thing. Yeah, it is what it is.
Maybe it was just right for the time that we were in life at that age.
The problem is, the best thing about Tom Likas was he would say all this anti-woman shit and all this and then he would get people calling up to argue with him.
Yeah.
And that's where, was. And then he would get his fans to call up and argue with them.
Yeah.
And he would go back and forth. And he was a great talker.
Can't do that on podcasts.
Right. The only people who are going to find you are the ones who like you. So you lose 80% of your show right there. And so...
And let's face it,
I'll go back and listen to on YouTube.
That looks like a panel of what did the rapist look like. You get all his listeners together.
No shit.
That's what we're looking at.
I mean, we were listeners. But, yeah, you look at it, Rush Limbaugh gets shit. Rightfully so. He said a lot of nutty things. He might be a little crazy and everything. He got the Medal of Freedom or whatever. But he, in my opinion, 100% deserved it. His career was more influential than a lot of those people.
Yeah.
So say what you will about the fucking guy. Say what you will about his opinions. Say what you will about all that. But you can't discount what he did for media and what he did for that. So
and that's not a Nobel Prize even though there's a certain amount of politics that go into Nobel Prizes, that's something that any president can give to any asshole.
I think Tiger Woods got it.
Yeah.
And I just want to say real quick recovery to Tiger Woods.
Oh,
not enough info's out there, so we're probably not going to talk about it till next week. But
yeah, we got to know a little more. Mm-hmm. It sounds like drugs or alcohol were not a factor,
right?
But let's hope that the injury isn't
right.
What we're hearing shattered
ankle.
Do we
and
want to talk
leg.
later? Let's save it for next week.
Yeah, we'll save it for. So yeah, rest in peace, Rush Limbaugh. Again, I may not agree with the guy. I may not have liked the guy. I mean, his show was entertaining.
But I feel like he's sometimes you run across a personality that you think, man, I'd love to have an hour with that guy
away from the
alone
microphone
to just hear what he really thinks, because he couldn't believe all of the nonsense he spout for so long. Mm-hmm. But he was very successful at what he did.
And again, I would say 70 to 80% of people working in the media business or whatever wouldn't be here without that guy.
Sure.
So say what you want about that guy. Everyone's making fun of him, Oh, he says he's pro-life, but still died anyway.
That's a funny ass.
That is a funny joke. But no, and everyone's like, oh, good, he died, that bigot. Okay, well, say what you want about that guy, but you're fucking Bill Maher's, you're fucking Joy Behar's, you're all this shit aren't around without that fucking guy.
Sure.
Separate the opinions from the actions.
Was he a bigot? I don't believe
he was far right wing, so obviously he was a bigot.
Right.
If you've ever voted red, you're a bigot.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask you. This was a couple weeks ago. Anyway, after we rest in power, you probably wouldn't like that. But did you watch any of the Australian Open?
No, not particularly.
Not a tennis guy. I'm not setting you up. I'm not setting you up for anything.
I'm a tennis guy.
Well, I've made you watch tennis before. We lived together, and I made you watch tennis.
No, my life is busy these days.
Well, apparently, I learned this: wheelchair tennis is apparently a thing.
Wheelchair tennis,
which is all fine, well and good.
All those jokes we used to make in high school, and it finally came.
Well, the problem is they always had a lock on the gate. So they could never get into the gate. There was that little square you had to climb through so none of the balls got through. Where was the ADA in those days? I don't feel good about that.
I want you to say we didn't go over these before we started. I didn't know anything about this.
I have just small cliff notes. And these are ideas that have popped into my head randomly and I didn't know I still remembered them. But apparently, the guy who won in Australia, congratulations to him. Australian Open, it's a major in tennis. Won it. Apparently, he's a big celebrity in Australia. I'm hoping there's not a thing with disabled athletes in the Southern Hemisphere killing their girlfriends. Because, I went on Oscar Pistorius for 400.
I'm with you.
So, we're getting close to the end. Here's what I'm watching.
Nobody really asked his whole side in that thing.
If you were here last week, you would have heard all about it. I watched the whole 4-part thing on ESPN Plus. I talked about it ad nauseum. So
that's awful hard of you, man. You know.
I know you were tailgating the Capitol. I know.
Had to be there.
I know. It was history, and you wanted to make sure that real people were represented. So,
America.
America.
I'm here for you.
So yeah, what I'm just saying is, Australian authorities, keep a lookout. Because Southern Hemisphere disabled athletes, the only other one I know, so 100% of the ones I had heard of before the Australian Open had killed their girlfriends. So be on the lookout.
Those are huge numbers. Those are now that you bring statistics into this.
Shit, now that I know this
you throw some stats out, then I believe you.
We're still at 50%.
All of a sudden, I'm fucking concerned.
We're still at 50%.
All right. I see where you're coming from.
Right, so just be on the lookout. Here's what I want you to do for the next episode. We're winding up here. Look up Nick Kyrgios, Australian tennis player. But I went in on a deep dive, hours of this guy. And you'll see why once you look him up, and we'll talk about it. But he is my favorite tennis player now. For all the reasons I hate other people in other sports. Uppity douchebag, too cool to be there, Mm-hmm. All the reasons I hate other people, he's my favorite tennis player. Because tennis needs that. Am I right?
Yeah, I was just asking, why are we not talking about football or something?
Because there wasn't a major event last weekend in football. I mean, the Australian Open was last week. That's, like the Masters of tennis.
All right, fuck, I'll get behind tennis.
No, don't get behind it. Just get behind Nick Kyrgios.
I'll look the guy up.
I'll fucking send you the shit. I
fucking told you I'll look him up.
I'm just saying. He's my favorite tennis player now.
I'll find out about him.
Okay, I'll send you some shit.
I like this this soft, quiet voice we developed.
You like that?
Our communications.
Right, we're like it's the hey, it's not a time to lose your pants and fight yet.
Why don't you go get your fucking shine box?
Motherfucker, keep him here. All right, so we'll have time to go into that. We're winding down here. I just want to say before we wrap up, thank you for everyone who listened.
Yeah.
Do you got anything else you really need to push forward this episode, or?
Not really.
I mean, we kind of. If you didn't notice, we are very much we are experts on everything at the surface level.
Honestly, I've had about fucking enough. I've had enough right now.
Mm-hmm. And you see,
I hope you have too.
See, that's why we got.
Fuck, if you're still listening, maybe you haven't had enough, and there's something wrong with you. Christ, who the fuck is still listening to this? That's what I want to know. Honestly, I want to know who's still listening at this point of the show.
I did that because and I only got one response on Instagram. I said, hey, look, I'm talking about this, at minute 55. So
you're still fucking in it.
Send me this word. I forget what it is, but Kyle. Shout out Kyle.
Kyle?
He wrote it, but I forget.
Dude, you're fucking up. Kyle was there for us, and we got no love for him.
Oh no, dude, he's still there. You've met Kyle. I'll explain it later. But no, Kyle's in. Kyle's all the way in.
Oh, Kyle. Okay.
He's all the way in.
Yeah.
So yeah, whoever's still listening. Anyway. So here's our choices since we're both kind of getting tired of it. I'm thinking about becoming a Scientologist because of step 5, basically saying just withdraw, just stop doing anything, and you'll be happier.
To Scientology,
it's either that or I fucking jump off a bridge.
Alcoholics Anonymous to me, man.
Again, just like Alcoholics Anonymous, either I join that or I jump off a bridge. Too real? Thank God no one's still listening.
That was good.
No knock warrant for a wellness check.
Let's get the fuck out of here before we make it any worse. Let's go to ending.
Right, so I just want to say Ecliptic Brewing, my guess is when the eclipse happened a few years ago. Portland, that was a big...
You really think they're going to endorse us now?
Hey, I'm endorsing them. No,
we're like, Christ, if this ever gets important, somebody endorse us.
No knock welfare check.
Anyway. No Knock Welfare. That was fucking close. That's a good one.
Ecliptic Brewery. Quasar Pale Ale. Very good. If hit us up. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all those places. And if there's nothing else, we will see you next week.